Alright, hello, this is Michael Cunningham. I'm going over my poster2 linear transformations. You can see my references, my AI disclosure, and my logs right here. I also have on my GitHub a folder with all the files that I sent into the AI. So let's get right into it. With the abstract, linear transformations are the fundamental bridge between vector spaces, providing a powerful framework for understanding how vectors can be mapped while preserving their algebraic structure. This poster explores how these special functions enable us to represent complex operations as simple matrix multiplications, revolutionizing fields from computer graphics to quantum mechanics. And this is certainly something that I have been dealing with in my game. So, what are linear transformations? They're really just a special kind of function that maintains proportions and preserves structure. Now, when I say preserves their structure, I really mean two things. That's if you add two vectors, then transform them. It's the same result as transforming them and then adding them. And that's the same if you scale them, right? Whether you make it bigger, smaller, transform it, it's going to be the same as transforming it, then making it bigger or smaller, right? So, been dealing with this a lot in my scaling, converting offset to scale of a UI. Um, it doesn't matter unless you're going with the parent or the class of an object, unless you scale that first, but then you're changing the matrix that you're going after, right? Now, we have our representation here, right? Um, we can see we're going from the original to our transformation here in the blue. This is from this diagram right here where we took R2, um, our parallelogram, and rotated it 90 degrees counterclockwise using scalar multiplication, right? Now let's go to an example from the homework. I chose 2A, um, finding eigenvalues and eigenvectors of the transformation matrix, right? Now, here is the summary from the homework. I have that obviously attached in the homework file. But we look at this specific transformation and we get our eigenvalues showing us the transformation stretches, right? And we can think of it more like, you know, image stretching, right? Some directions might stretch more than others. Um, and some might even flip, right? If you ever have been trying to deal with Microsoft Word, you know, changing the scale of an image, sometimes it will flip. Um, Now, I included this example because it shows how we use math to understand the fundamentals or the fundamental behaviors of transformations, right? Very valuable, very key with everything that from today forward. I mean, this is just the building blocks of anything in comp sci, right? So then we see our real world example, or from the lab. This is 1.1 from the pre-lab, and that's the radiographic transformation, right? So this should look familiar to everyone. Um, you know, whether it's video games where your 3D character moves and rotates, that's a linear transformation. Quantum physics, uh, even music processing, our phones analyze frequencies of a song. Um, AI systems, every layer of neural network applies to transformations to data, right? So our grid here shows us, our 2 by 2 grid shows us the different tissue densities in a patient's body, right? So it takes the X-ray image from different angles, creating what we call a radiograph. Um, Certain patterns of tissue densities can be completely invisible to the machine, as we saw from this question in the lab. So it's like having a specific arrangement of objects that doesn't cast a shadow, right? No matter how many angles you look at it, there's a blind spot. And this has huge implications for like medical imaging because there's limitations to what our machines can even detect, right? Which is very key. It can miss things. So, like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's you're making a video game, you're learning AI, you're making your own neural network. We transform entire functions to, where we can integrate a function, and we could turn that into just a number, right? You could substitute it out for a number if you're using it a lot. So, I guess why should we care about all this? To wrap things up, it's because it gives us a way to handle complex problems. Um, it lets us predict how systems will work and behave, and then they connect a lot of different fields through one common language, math. Um, and they're also, the foundation of all the technologies we use today. I mean, I've excelled. I've probably 2x my efficiency in my game just from these last few weeks alone of the course. Um, so thanks for listening. Um, Obviously we have a pretty powerful tool that we've been going over in class that's valued in so many fields. Thank you.